Is beer declining dramatically in popularity, or is it alcohol in general? The young people these days are drinking way less beer. HTTPS. Drinking habits have changed dramatically over the last couple of decades. If beers were 2.5 at a restaurant like they were in the 90s, then beer would not be declining. The fact this shit costs 9 a pint is keeping me sober. Since legalized rec marijuana, my beer and booze intake has gone down easily. 80. I don't think the younger gens drink as much as the millennials and older. There's some evidence that the widespread use of Ospic is causing people to drink less, to the point that some stock market analysts are pulling their money out of drinks companies. I'm seeing MDMA getting a lot of love in this thread. If it was as popular as some folks are saying, I think we'd see a bigger push for legalization. I get the feeling it's a young person's drug. Weed and booze are the two main things that the olds like me hold on to as they age. I think a lot of millennials are looking at their parents' generation and noticing a fairly significant difference between the 60 to 70-year-olds who drink regularly vs the boomers who are fairly sober. A soberish boomer acts like a 50-year-old, while the heavy drinkers are definitely now old. That can be a bit scary to witness in your parents, and is decent motivation to cut down on the booze at a much younger age. Then Gen Z decided their vice would be nicotine, hence, less drinking overall. It's most alcohol. Vineyards are struggling too because people aren't drinking as much wine either. I think alcohol in general is starting to decline. There are several reasons, in my opinion, with the two largest being cost and an increase in the attempt to live a healthier life. I think price is actually the larger reason of these two. I never thought we'd be at a point where bars are charging $14-18 for a cocktail. People can talk about inflation all they want, but that's too much money for one drink. Beer is often seen as the drinking option that's more likely to make you fat. So if health is a concern, that could be why you see the decline in beer. Regarding craft breweries, they are also way out of touch with their pricing. Craft breweries used to be the place to go to get a less expensive beer because it's being made right there. You weren't having to pay for the costs that went along with distribution. Now, craft breweries are charging upwards of $8 a glass of beer that was made 15 feet away from where it's being poured. Alcohol use is definitely declining among youth, but older people in Canada and US at least have managed to actually increase our overall consumption per capita, despite younger folks drinking less. But the seltzer craze really took a chunk out of beer. Beer is delicious, but for people with bad taste, the alternative was always coolers, which are just soda basically. They taste super sweet and would often produce some gnarly hangovers, so while popular, coolers would always have a limited popularity compared to beer or cocktails. But then White Claw and Truly came along and changed the game forever, with folks suddenly being able to get single-serving alcoholic beverages that were a similar price point to beer and didn't feel like you were just drinking candy. Lol, go to Prague and they will laugh. Gen X here, I'm all done with alcohol permanently, I think. I'm now on Team Cannabis over 2 years now. I think in general, alcohol is pretty bad for you. As the information about alcohol being carcinogenic becomes more widespread, the number of users in the US will drop. Education therapy culture of being open about personal issues, watching older generations commit slow suicide over saturation of the brewery market. There comes a time when you realize it all tastes the same, and sitting in an open-air bar with cornhole and bearded 30-somethings with dogs gets old. 8 for a microbrew is a deal killer. Alcohol is lame. Alcohol is becoming much less popular. I drink more beer than ever.